So let's jump into this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you guys. As you guys can now see here, I've already imported my model. Now, very important couple of things right off the start for anybody and everybody is the ability to have your model structured with components. This is very, very important. As you guys can see with the component structure, it is not individual bodies. It is very easy to convert a list of bodies by right-clicking, create components. But this is going to be the big thing that changes how you do and how you work with joints later. Now, me personally, I'm an organization kind of guy. I like to make sure my stuff is pretty streamlined and easy to use. So I am going to separate this into basically three categories. I have the base, I have the back jaw, and the front jaw. You could also use L and R, all 100% up to you the way you label this out. But let's go ahead and start by creating a brand new component. And again, I like to start with base. So here is my base. And then from there, we can go ahead and reactivate the top level. But what we're really looking for is to go through and pull any items that work with the base and only the base. Now, a trick here to utilize is if we turn the base component off, anytime we drag and drop something in there, it's automatically going to disappear from our assembly. So as you guys can see, I now know this shaft here is going to be something that needs to also be moved. Now I can go up to the top. I can highlight again, click and drag. Another kind of trick out there for you guys, if you didn't know, if you highlight, and I just did a window drag highlight, it's showing me over here on the left with an underline of everything in blue, to which will be grabbed. So again, I'm going to hold Control now, grab all those individual items. Again, we're throwing those all in the base at the end of the day. Looks like I missed them here. Let me go ahead and do that again. Control, click, drag, make sure we're on the right location, and release. So it looks like it's giving me a little bit of a trouble. Let's go ahead and see that one more time. Is it me or is it the software? I know I have a pretty good track record of doing things wrong. It looks like it's not liking that control. However, if I individually place these, you guys, again, you're seeing that in real time, that we can go through, highlight the items that we need, and move them down slowly. So again, grab that next grouping, bring them down, and just like that, basically my base is organized. So again, guys, I see a lot of you starting to get in here. We've kicked things off already. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to throw them in chat. You could also scrutinize if my audio sounds off or if I sound too loud, sound too light. But again, we're going to just continue on this process, right? So one thing that did happen is along the way, I did click and drag something, which means it moved. We could always revert that back, but I'm just going to rinse and repeat the process. Again, new component. Let's say this is our left jaw. And basically the same thing all over again. So we could take all of those components that we want, place them in the left jaw. Again, the tip here is to turn them off on the move so that we can make it very easy, knowing that they disappear. So again, it looks like we're still having that problem once again. Maybe somebody out there can tell me what I'm doing wrong. I think I'm just moving too fast. But one last time around, right? So again, we activate the top level to make our life easy. Again, we're going to go jaw right here. And then the last of everything can basically be placed inside there. So the idea is with the organization, we have made it very simple for us to go through and be able to turn on and turn off things as well. When we start to join these together, it will make much more sense. But if I go up here to the top, we're going to go ahead and show all components. And we're going to go ahead and do show all bodies as well. Now, I did notice I was having this kind of problem before. Oh, of course, I'm not in the active component. That would make sense. As you guys can see, now all of my components is shown back up. We have organized things. The next step is crucial because everything is still individualized, is we're going to start to group things together. And this was the importance of that organization because I can go through and I can now rigid group, and I can basically rigid group the entire base. Right click, go to my 12 o'clock position, left jaw. One more time, we're going to go ahead and do the right jaw. And now if I go through and click on any of these, notice how I've rigidly grouped everything. So all the screws that hold it down, dowel pins, bushings in this case, even the linear shaft that everything is going to move upon. So as you guys can see, it was very quick once I got my organization down that I can now go back and add my actual joints. Now, the cool thing about this is we do have the ability to use as-built joints because everything is in its place where I want it to be. So again, we're going to do an as-built joint. Now, it doesn't matter if I use the actual jaw. I personally would like to go with the base down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it directly on the actual shaft. And then with that, we're going to go ahead and swap out to a slider. Now, the direction of the slider, again, very important, because as you're going to see is I'm holding control on this cylinder surface, and I'm just grabbing the node that is on center of rotation. And as you can see, it's now sliding. Don't worry, guys. If you mess this up, by all means, you can go back. You could actually use an edge on the base too. Again, getting my mouse on that surface, holding control. Let's say I want to go over to this edge, and notice how that's going up and down. Well, I can change now and tell it which direction do I want to go off of. So let me go ahead and swap mine back just for demonstration purposes. Again, we just want that in and out motion. Now, I'm going to do this one more time. Again, I'm going to use the actual base of that vice jaw, use the actual shaft. Again, we're going to go ahead and do a slider. So I need to snap, and I'm going to snap again to center. And just like that, we have our inside-outside motion. Now, if I was to try to move these jaws, notice how everything's moving around on me. So this is where I either need to, in some way, shape, or form, pin, ground. Again, there's multiple options here. Or what one of my favorites is I actually like to use a joint to place bottom center of my vise onto my origin. And now you guys can see it's flipped it over to the side. Keep in mind that red line, that is our x-axis based on the world coordinates. So again, this right now would be a left and right kind of configuration across x. If I wanted it to face towards me, again, making it easier to get the wrench on to change parts out, I would need to rotate it 90. But as you can see, it is now sitting on the origin. It is now in the correct world coordinates orientation. And if I go to move one of these jaws, I can move them independently. Man, every time we do this, I got a mustache hair tickling me here. So as you guys can see, again, we now have motion independently for each jaw. I can revert those back one more time, get my origin out of the way because I don't want to stare at it. Stuart, great to see you out there. Glad to see you made it again once this week. But now we need to link our two sliders together. So again, if I go up to assemble, we're going to go down to motion link, and I'm going to grab both of those guys. Now, as you can see, they are moving in and out. So they do asymmetrical motion. Now, if yours wasn't doing a symmetrical motion out the box, if I go ahead and click reverse, you notice how they're sliding along each other. Make sure that they are going in and out as required. So as you can see, upon adding that motion link, if I grab one side and pull it out or pull it in, I have very simply now created, in this case, that dovetail or self-centering vise that utilizes those joints to always make sure that it is center on my base. Now I can step this up one step further. As you guys will see here real quick, is we're going to do a brand new component. Now I do recommend for a lot of you out there is you can pin the new component to your toolbar like I have, and you can actually drag it around and reorder it. However, I saw a very interesting video where somebody pointed out it's actually a better workflow to pick where you want that component to go. So if I go up here to the top and say new component, by default, that is the parent component, or in this case, the entire assembly. But let's go ahead and throw a stock in there, right? So again, we're creating our stock. I'm going to need a box for my stock. And now I'm going to utilize any one of these planes, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to draw off to the side my stock. Now, the size of your stock, again, this is something we can control with parameters. And if you guys didn't catch my last Wednesday video, we did a really cool video utilizing components, or not components, but using configurations to make your workflows even better. But as you can see, I now have my stock, and I need to put my stock in my vise. Again, because we're using components, we're utilizing the tree the proper way. we can go through now and actually put our vise onto our fixture. Now, you guys are going to notice here, I do have my actual dovetail. I did not model my dovetail. You guys can model your dovetail if you'd like. If you guys want to see that, let me know in chat. But I am simply just going to cheat the system as much as I can. And we're going to just do a joint, in this case, from bottom center of one side of my stock. And if I come over here, I could either place it on the flat here. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be joint to joint. So if you're going to use the flat here, we should make sure that we're actually using the bottom of that edge. Again, showing you guys here, we're going to get over here. I'm going to snap that up into place. And now just like that, our stock is sitting on center of that surface, which necessarily isn't compensated over far enough. And we could simply do that if you wanted to. We could say inspect. Again, we could inspect surface to surface. We need to shift it 52 thou. Again, down in my timeline over here to, I guess, my left, I could now do a little bit of a shift by that 52 thou. Not necessary, guys. In most cases for your machine sim, you're not too concerned. You do have a little bit of lenience and a little bit of variation on what you're doing. But just like that, it now looks like it's mated up against that surface nice and tight, right? So again, I can go ahead. In this case, I can't repeat joint because it wasn't the last tool used. But if I went ahead and hit S on my keyboard, I could do, again, a search. Pro tips here for you guys to make your workflows better. Again, we're going to go off bottom here. Oh, wrong side of bottom. That's on me. Go bottom here. Center of this surface. And then again, we're going to compensate this that 52 thou. So again, negative 0.52. And just like that, our stock sits on our dovetails or serrated teeth, and it is in between my jaws. Now, yes, we've over-traveled this vise. Again, guys, I can't self-promote. The component video that I did with the vise, or not component, configuration would allow you to automatically switch your vise jaws around. But we could go through, again, setting up our parameters, as you guys may or may not know. Again, I could just favorite these, and now we could adjust our stock size. So let's say it's actually, 2 inch by 4 inch by 3 inch. And just like that, I've updated my stock, and my vise has automatically self-centered, opening and closing in that case. So again, guys, let me know. I see a lot of you coming and going in chat. I see you guys showing up. Get a 3D connection space mouse. I can't live without mine. So I would do, and I used to do a connection mouse, but because I travel so much and I'm moving my laptop around, I know you can get wireless ones, guys. It's just one more thing that I'm taking on the plane, that I'm flying with, that I'm dealing with. Now, me personally, I prefer a touch screen. So let me know, is that going to help you guys out? Does that look like something interesting, something cool? Again, the key element to being able to get that actual vise to open and close with symmetry or symmetrical vise movement is the ability to do a motion link between those two slider joints, right?